For this physical geography assignment, you are going to be using a variety of tools in Google Earth to measure either the recession or advance of a glacier in some part of the world. It's entirely up to you what glacier you decide to use, but you will need to find one that has enough historical imagery, which I'll explain in a little bit, that you can actually see the advance and recession taking place clearly. This can be hard with alpine glaciers from time to time because snow cover will extend so far into the summer season. But you can usually find this, and students have successfully completed this project a number of times. For the example, I'm going to use the Eklutna Glacier, which is the major glacier that feeds Eklutna Lake. You can see Eklutna Lake, a lake, in the upper part of this image right here, and the glacier down below. I'm going to zoom down into the glacier right now. Here we can clearly see the glacier, and this is the toe or terminus of the glacier down here, its very end. And then the glacier continues up into this alpine area where it's covered with snow when this imagery is taken. You're going to have to find a glacier that it's really quite clear where the terminus is and where the ice extends. Here, we're lucky enough that we can see the ice pretty well. You can see it's textured, it's a little bit blue, and has some grayish streaks in it, which are caused by glacial moraine. So now, once you have found a glacier and you are ready to study it, you're going to have to go back in time and look at historical imagery. So click on the button up here to show historical imagery, and you'll see that it allows you to zoom between different years using this slider bar. And in this case, there's a lot of historical imagery that allows us to see glacial change. So it's a good glacier to use for this purpose. The next thing you're going to use is the path tool, which is located up here, to draw a path around the terminus of the glacier. So you're going to go here and click Add Path. A little dialog box will appear. You'll be able to add the year of the imagery that you're examining. And then you can click around the terminus of the glacier so that we can clearly see its outline. Once you've done this, you will of course name it. You can change the style to change the color, and also you could potentially change the width of the line as well. I'm actually not going to save this one. I'm going to cancel it because I've created a series of these lines already. I created one for 2022, and then I used historical imagery to include lines for 2012, 4, and 1996. And this was all done using the historical imagery, and if you go back in time, you can see how the 2004 matches quite clearly that line that I've drawn. Now, one thing that I'm going to note here is that sometimes the imagery might shift a little bit, and that's because the imagery might be geo-referenced a few meters either to the north, south, east, or west. And that's the case with the 1996 data, which created a slightly different terminus position than all the other ones that we've seen. So in this case, we probably don't want to use the 1996 imagery location because it's probably a little bit inaccurate, while these other ones all seem to match up quite well. So now that we have, in this case, 3 different glacial extent years, we can actually measure how much recession has taken place. And we can do this by using the measurement tool, which is up here. Click on that measurement tool, and you are going to create a path again. I'm going to click down at the very end of this one, and I'm going to click up at this one right here, and it will create a path for us right here. And you can go ahead and modify that path as you did before. So this one is called Path Measure, but I might call it something like Recession. We can change the style and color of it just as we did before. I'm going to make this one a little bit thicker so it stands out quite well. Once I've created that, you'll see it appears over here where my years have been created as well. I'm going to add that end to recession. We can save all of these together, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But first, I wanted to show you that if you right-click on that recession and go to the properties, or rather to the show elevation profile here, it will actually show you what the length of recession is. And it looks like it has receded here about 781 meters. And you can also see that its elevation profile has decreased as well. So that's a way to get some of the data that you'll be wanting to report on. After you have created these, I'm going to go ahead and delete the 1996 one. And know that you can go in and modify these if you want to. For example, if you're not satisfied with that 2022 line and you want it to be a little bit more detailed, you can reopen it, and you can go here and you can actually change the position of the line by clicking on each of the, I'm on 1996 here. I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to go back to 2004 rather, and I'm going to open that up. I had the wrong one clicked, and you can then see each of these little vertices here, which are individual points that make up the line. And if you want to, you can add new ones onto the line, and you can make this, fuller, more accurate if you want to. I'm going to close that now. You'll see that I have all of these different types of data here now. The way to save them is to go on temporary files and highlight it and right-click on it and add a new folder. And you can give the folder the name you want to. I'm going to call mine Eklutna Glacier. Say OK to that. There's that new folder. And then what you want to do is you want to make each of these other lines that you have created here children of that folder. So I'm just going to take them down here, and I'm going to drop them into that folder, and I'm going to put them in the order that I want them to be in. Then you can go ahead and do the save place as you've done before, to whatever you'd like to call it. And I'm just going to keep mine named Eklutna Glacier and save it as a KMZ file. I can then go ahead and delete that entire folder, and if I've done everything properly, I can just click on that Eklutna Glacier file, which I'm doing on my desktop, out of the view of the screen capture. And when I do that, it will bring this all back to me, and we can open that KMZ file up, and we can see that original folder and each of the pieces of it that we've created. Now, what you can do is you can share this entire folder with me, showing the measurement, comment on what you see here and what you have noticed about recession of the glacier that you've chosen, and also talk a little bit about how you're able to use measurement and how you're also able to digitize, that's what we call the creation of these lines that allows us to make these observations over time in a short paper, as you've done all throughout the semester. As always, if you have questions about this, I am happy to address them.